Welcome back, everybody. My name is Juan Londoño, and today is another Photo Philosophy Friday. So let's get started. Today we're going to visit another quote, and it's a quote from another unknown author, but it's a really cool quote. So what does it say? I have it right here. Well, actually, before I read it, let me say this. One of the videos I did already, I talked about one of the pet peeves I have, right? And I say I don't really have pet peeves, but this one, as a photographer, you may be able to associate with it, right? Which is when somebody sees a picture that you've taken, and it's a really nice picture, for them anyway, right? And they say, oh my God, what a beautiful picture. You must have an amazing camera. And, you know, we've talked about this, right? It's an insult, basically. They don't realize they're doing it, but it's an insult. It's like going to somebody that cooked a wonderful meal for you and asking them what kind of an oven they used, right? So this quote is around those lines, right? It's not something you want to do. This quote is around those lines. Let me read it to you. Asking what brand of camera was used is like asking what brand of typewriter Hemingway used. Who the heck? I mean, really, who the heck would ask Hemingway what kind of typewriter he used? It's not going to make a better novel. So you may think, from looking at the thumbnail, you know, when I say what kind of camera do I use, that I'm going to talk about what kind of camera to use specifically for some kind of photography, like wildlife or whatever, right? Or what kind of camera I use for anything in general. But it's not. The topic is a Photo Philosophy Friday topic, and it's one of those, you know, deeper thinking topics, right? That we all love. That's why we're here looking at, you know, talking about this stuff, right? Looking into it. So the question is, does it matter what brand of camera I use, right? You've all heard me say it before. I shoot Canon. I shoot Canon because I started with Canon, and once you start buying lenses for things, you just grow into that, you know, into that camera. But not just for that reason. I actually love Canon. I love what I shoot, right? If you do enough reviews and you look at other photographers, which I spend a lot of time doing, you'll realize that, you know, there are cameras that have fortes, right? Strong points. And there are cameras that have certain weaknesses, right? Some manufacturers spend a lot of time making their cameras do something better than other brands, and they create a niche for themselves, right? So why do I like Canon? Their menus are fantastic. Their coloration for skin tones is fantastic, right? And then depending on what model you get, there are, you know, pros and cons even inside a brand, right? But it doesn't mean that Nikon or Olympus or any of, you know, right now in the digital market, cameras are so good that really nobody's going to let you down, right? Now, if you're thinking specifically of shooting in high ISO, there might be a brand that you decide to go with. If your thing is to shoot with, you know, to shoot like high frame rates, right? 20, 30 frames per second, there's a particular camera you might be looking at, which means you're going to tie yourself to a brand. Maybe the thing for you is the lenses, the glass. Maybe this company is known for their glass. Well, you just selected a brand, right? Because you're going to go with that glass. So yes, maybe you're into video, and the video that this particular company puts out in their camera is just a little sharper than all the other cameras. That's what all the reviewers are saying, right? So there's got to be some truth to that. So in that frame of thinking, yes, there's a brand that you're going to tie into, but it's not going to make or break our pictures. That's really the truth, right? If you give me a Nikon and you give me a Canon and you give me a Sony, and I go out into the woods and I have all three wrapped around my neck, and I pick each camera up every time I take a picture of a flower, and I set the cameras up the exact same way, and I have the exact same lenses, you know, a 35 millimeter, for example, 1.8 on all the cameras, the difference is going to be negligible. I mean, you know, we can argue this till the cows come home. The difference is going to be negligible, right? And I think most of us know that. Are there going to be little differences? Maybe. Are they worth it? Are they worth the argument, or, you know, switching a camera brand to another? So I was watching this photographer talk about a major switch he did recently, right? And he switched from Canon to Sony because of the video. Because the newer Canon cameras, when they shoot in 4K, they're upscaling from like a little below 4K, whereas the Sony camera was shooting a little higher than 4K and downscaling, so it's going to be a sharper video, right? And he said video meant a lot to him, so he went ahead and he sold all of his camera gear, his Canon camera gear, and he switched it for Sony. Now, was he happy with his purchase? He said, yes, it's a good camera, and for what I needed, he said, for the video, it's perfect, right? However, he made a big statement, and he said, however, was it worth losing all that money because I didn't get the money back that I spent? Was it worth retraining myself on all of the Sony menus, which he didn't like, by the way? He really started missing the Canon menus. Was it worth spending tons of money in new lenses and new gear, and then of course the peripherals, all the attachments and things that you have? Some of them aren't universal, some of them are specific to the cameras, right? He said it was a waste. It was a waste of time. He had spent like 3 weeks just understanding the camera well and feeling comfortable with it, not to mention months learning how to edit it, because it edits different. You know, you got to get used to how your camera edits on the software you're using. He said at the end of the day, he wishes he had not made the change, because the difference that he was seeing even in the video was negligible, right? So these are the things I want you to think about. That's the whole purpose of today's topic. Before you go throwing all your stuff out and leaving Canon or leaving Nikon for Canon or leaving Sony for Canon or leaving Canon for Sony, whatever it is it really worth it? Ask yourself that, right? If you only have a lens and you only have that one camera and the camera's old and you're not going to miss it a whole lot, then maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe making a switch is good, especially if you're switching for something that's better at what you like to do more, right? If you like to shoot wildlife, if you like to shoot flowers, for example, and you need vibrant colors, you want a camera that can handle vibrant colors well right from the get-go. You don't want to be doing all that stuff in post-production, right? So these are the things that you want to look at, right? So that's basically today's video. And you notice how these videos are a little different, right? The Photo Philosophy Fridays, because they're more talked and from the heart, less scripted, right? With the other ones, I have to look at notes and pause and look up, and so you see the cuts. With this one, I kind of just blab, right? And give you everything I'm thinking. So I pause here again to say, if this was meaningful to you, if you like these, little side topics, we're not, looking at specific lenses and cameras and how to do this and what not to do and comparing two things. And this is more like the Photo Philosophy Friday topic, right? Looking deep into something and just analyzing. If you're liking this, please, please, please hit the like button down here. And if you haven't subscribed already, that one's over here on your bottom right. Don't forget to hit the little notification bell, because that's what's going to tell you that another video has been uploaded, so you can go check it out. And if you know somebody that likes to talk about these deep topics and enjoys listening to this stuff, it doesn't even necessarily have to be somebody who enjoys photography, right? Share it with them, right? And then you can sit with them and chat about it. Please leave me some comments. I love to read your comments. Let me know what you think. Am I right? Am I wrong? What are your opinions on this matter, right? So at the end of the day, you don't ask people, right? Mechanics, for example, are very proud of their tools. They spend a lot of money on tools. But a good mechanic will fix your car with whatever tools you give them, right? Now, there are specialty tools which help make the job easier, and sometimes mechanics don't have those. They just have a good set of tools. What does a good set of tools do for a mechanic? It just lasts longer, right? In the middle of a job, a wrench isn't going to break or slip or do something dorky like that. But a good mechanic will fix your car nonetheless with your tools, right? So if a mechanic does a really good job, you don't go up to him and say, or up to her and say, wow, my car feels like it's never felt before. You must have amazing tools. Or what brand of tools do you use, right? Because they're going to look at you and go, that's irrelevant. My 20 years experience working on, dilapidated cars, that's what got me to where I am today, not the tools I use. So it's a sore topic to many people. It's, it's something I tend to laugh more about than anything, but it's a wonderful topic. I hope you enjoyed it. Think about it. Don't ask anybody what oven they use when they cook you a meal, or, yeah, there are certain things that do make a difference, right? If you're hearing an instrument and it sounds, angelical, well, it probably has a little bit to do with the instrument. I'm sure the person that made the instrument, spent a lot of time making it sound that way, right? As opposed to a cheap instrument. So there are times when these things matter, but just know when to ask and when not to ask that. There are times not to ask, right? What brand of tools or equipment people use. So I leave you with this. I'm going to leave you with my little picture down here. That's another subscribe option in case you haven't yet. And I leave you with a video that I recommend. I always do that. Take care of yourselves as always. Drink your water. Take your vitamins. Eat healthy. Exercise, because I need you coming back, because I consider you my family and I want you to grow. I want you to grow. We're all going to grow together, and we're all going to learn, and we're all going to apply these cool photography themes, topics, and everything we learn, right? So, hasta la vista. Take care of yourselves. Ciao for now.